an eminent Vaidyan and Ayurvedic physician, principal of Ashtangam Ayurveda Chikitsalayam and Vidyapidam in Palakkad, managing trustee of Sunethri Foundation, a registered trust for research and propagation of Ayurveda, specifically in the field of autism. He has been working on autism spectrum disorders from 2002 and has developed a new protocol, the Sunethri Protocol for Autism, for autistic children. This was presented at the World Ayurveda Congress 2010 and the Swadeshi Science Congress 2011. He is part of an investigative team on consistency of Ayurvedic diagnosis, a research program to identify the Ayurvedic diagnostic practices and its consistency, conducted by the AVP Research Foundation, Coimbatore. He has delivered more than 100 lectures and presentations till date. He has won the Bharadwaja Puraskaram in 2015 and Dr. NVK Warrior Memorial Amai Ayurveda Pracharam Award in 2013. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming Vaidya Prasad, who will share with us the Sunethri Protocol for Autism.
Good morning and a big namaskaram to all of you. I have, I think, more than 60 slides, a big bunch in 30 minutes, so I'll just rush into the topic directly. Okay, see, metaphorically I have just put a slide here. Everybody will be knowing who this person is, who claimed to lift the earth if provided with a place to stand and a lever. Let it be there, doesn't matter. I will come to the topic. ASD as of now have got many challenges as far as the management is concerned. I have listed out a few. The epidemic proportion of the spectrum, lack of clarity about its causes, late and obscure diagnosis, of course, lack of awareness about the disease and social stigma. I am speaking more about the Indian context. The economical factors of getting into different types of treatments or trainings, schooling and all these things. Then insufficient number of experts for different trades and a very reductionistic outlook about the health and disease in general. Sunethri Protocol, I will come directly to it. We call it a Supra for Sunethri Protocol for Autism. It's an Ayurvedic protocol and developed by our center, a small facility, Sunethri Ayurveda Ashram, and we are with it for the last 16 years. Currently, we have more than 1,000 parents from all over the world following the protocol either fully or partially. It explains the problem, the disorder as such in an Ayurvedic way, and it strategizes an intervention and customizes that intervention as to suit every kid. Now I think at this point of time I should say something about Ayurveda because we have many people from other part of the world. I will not take too much time for that. See, Ayurveda is one of the oldest medical systems of the world, and it is the most sought after or the most popular complementary and alternative system of medicine. It is included as one among the whole medical systems, and the basic principles evolved from the Indian philosophical schools, and obviously in the conventional meaning of the word, it is less about science and more about philosophy. I would like these keywords, which are mainly Sanskrit, just for the to remind you that when I use these terms in my presentations, please remember these words. Sharira or body, Manas, which means mind, Atma or Atman, which means the soul or the spirit, Indriya means the sensory organs, Agni is to be the going to be the buzzword in this presentation, which literally means fire. Then Ojas, which represents the internal atmosphere of a living being. Dhatu or the tissue pool of various types, and srotas, which means the internal pathways and channels. According to Ayurvedic philosophy, human being has got 4 quarters or constituents. Number 1 is the body, sharira, sensory organs, indriya, then mind or manas, and the soul or spirit, which we call as Atman. See, this is the way in which these 4 constituents are going to get incorporated in the being. Body is the basic platform upon which everything else is installed. The sense organs are the perceiving tools from the external world, and they are synced with the Atman, which I am going to explain next, via the manas. And the mind or manas, it works as the tool of the Atman, and it connects with the external world through the sensory organs. Sorry for this sort of elaborations. Soul and spirit represents the life as such, or that is the factor which separates the live from the dead. Mind, I will say something about it, responsible for the faculties of thinking, imagination, discrimination, inferential skills, introspection, retrospection, predictive skills. In total, the word mind represents the cognitive sum of the individual. The mind-body relationship, that is very, very crucial in Ayurvedic understanding. They are 2 separate entities, of course, according to our philosophy, but they are complementary to such an extent that they cannot be separated. Because body without mind or mind without body is not a subject matter in Ayurveda. See, this is how the system of perception and reciprocation to the perceived stimuli works according to Ayurveda. On the left, you find the 5 sensory organs. They give their stimulus to the mind, and interestingly, the mind processes this all information and interprets it to some extent. And that processed or manipulated or interpreted information that goes to the highest level of perception, the soul or the spirit or the Atman, and from there, in the same route, the instructions are passed on to the level of the mind, and they again decide to which terminal that should be sent and which should be the appropriate action, and then they go to the 5 set of organs of action, which we call in Sanskrit as karmendriya. See, this is again an illustration of the relationship between body and mind. They share both wellness and illness. Happy, sad, both they're sharing between them something like a container and the content, what I have shown. If the container is hot, the content poured also will get warmed up, and vice versa. So this relationship, mind and body relation, are always shared, and the problems of the and aberrations of the mind definitely cause similar problems with the body, and the problems of the body definitely start reflecting in the mental plane as well. Now we will see something about the aberrations that can happen in the mind. They cause problems with the passage of information from the sense organs, which I have shown earlier. And this results in faulty reporting to the highest center, the Atma, then actually, inappropriate suggestions from the Atma, resulting in the improper mental and physical responses, and this will be obviously presented as sometimes mental disorders or sometimes physical disorders. These statements are general ones. The mind-body relationship keeps an See, to work this relationship properly, say the mind is something which resides within the body. So the body is supposed to provide the mind with some sort of an environment where this can perform optimally. Otherwise, however brilliant the mental capacities are, they are not going to manifest optimally. So we will see how these things are done properly. In Ayurveda, we have got two tools for that, which the body is having. Number one is Agni, the fire, which I am going to explain, and the next is a term called Ojas, which may be reflecting the internal environment in total. See, Agni is a Sanskrit word which means literally fire. It facilitates all transformations, processing and maturation which is happening inside the body. Whatever it is, if something is transformed, Agni is there. If something is getting matured, Agni is there. And basically, the commander-in-chief of all transformation, which resides in the gut, digestion and assimilation of food and its transformation to the body tissues is an attribute of Agni. It has decisive role in defining the functional status of all other principles of the body. It prevents, this is going to be the main aspect where we are going to work. Agni prevents the entry of external toxins to the system of body. And if at all something enters, or if at all some toxins are generated within the system as part of some metabolic error or something like that, it can eliminate or neutralize those self-generated toxins within the system. A healthy network of functional pathways, Agni always ensures it. And generation and distribution of healthy tissue pools. And generation of Ojas. This Ojas and Agni work in tandem. And it fuels and sharpens all cognitive faculties. Very, very important. A faulty Agni generally manifests in the form of poor or erratic appetite in its initial phase. Then it switches over to clogged or dysfunctional pathways, poor or erratic assimilation and metabolism, entry of toxins from outside, because this was supposed to be the guard there, generation of toxins and unwanted materials within the system, and creating changes in the tissues. Ojas is the second tool of the body. It is the principle which reflects the internal environment of the body. This may be referred to as terms like vitality, resistance, tolerance, potential, drive, brilliance, immunity, a list of things. All these things can be the representation of Ojas. Ojas in association with Agni fights against toxins of all sort. And a brilliant Ojas always indicates perfect Agni, healthy body tissues, functional pathways, and a well-tuned mental sphere. When this Ojas is dysfunctional, sometimes it may get masked by toxins when the toxic load is too much. Then Agni, Dhatu's pathways and mind will be affected. Toxic byproducts may get accumulated again and again. Internal environment goes further polluted. So this is the three things which work in tandem: Agni, Ojas, and mind. Agni, through the media of Ojas, has remarkable influence in determining the status of the mind. So we propose that, according to Ayurvedic principle, there is a triangle working, which I call as Om triangle. O represents Ojas, A for Agni, and M for mind. So we all have an Om triangle within our system in the backdrop of Dhatus, the tissue pools, and the Srodhas, the internal pathways. This Om triangle is not working properly, then definitely there will be a mismatch between the mind and the body relationship, and this could lead to faulty or perverted modes of perception from outside and inappropriate response to stimuli. So now coming to the conceptual background of Supra, our protocol, we propose that there is problem with the Om triangle. Agni is not working properly, which is evident from many signs and symptoms which everybody knows, and the Ojas gets masked by different types of toxins which could be a product of the faulty Agni or sometimes getting entry from outside. We presume that the diseases and the signs, symptoms, disorders, or whatever it is in ASD starts from the physical body, especially because of a faulty Agni, spread through the Ojas, the entire internal environment of the system, and then it spills over to the mental sphere. This is going to be the most important part of Supra. This Ojas get masked can be of two types, can be transient or temporary or sustained. In temporary, every neurotypical person or every highly brilliant person gets some sort of a standstill because of this transient masking of Ojas. But demasking is easy. In the next moment, we may all get demasked. But when it is sustained, it alters the normal functioning of the system of the body. And it prevents the mind from delivering its duties properly. And this could lead to a slip into a labyrinth of physical and mental illnesses or disorders. Features of low or dysfunctional Ojas can be evident from features like fear, anxiety, depression, weakness, morbidity, and recurrent infections, lost in thoughts, aloofness, perverted sensory and motor responses, poor connectedness with the surroundings, low or absent self-motivation, aggression, self-injurious nature, and self-stimulation. All this could be taken as indications of low or dysfunctional Ojas. Om triangle, actually focusing on this Om, that is our major proposal. Focusing on the Om triangle is going to be the focus of a proper management protocol of autism. Autistic kids come out of the spectrum once the Agni is stabilized, Ojas is released from the clutches of toxins, obviously, which is not very easy, which is very easy to preach. Agni is our master tool. Agni of ASD kids is either underperforming or malperforming. And this loads the system with lots of toxins of different type. You name it, they will have it. Indications of faulty Agni: poor or altered appetite, fussy eating, bloated stomach, constipation or diarrhea, colics and pains, nausea or vomiting, irritability, hyperactivity, attention and memory problems, and prone to recurrent infections. And what do these toxins do? They pollute the system, internal atmosphere further, pollutes the tissue pool, and results again in the further clogging of the internal pathways. And outcome is the disruption in the channels, distortion in the sensory perceptions and motor responses, interaction with the external environment is disturbed, and there could be cognitive standstill or distortion resulting in behavioral issues. This Om-centered Supra actually has got three phases. I will explain what we do. Phase 1 is to correct the Agni. Phase 2 is to cleanse the tissues and channels. And phase 3 is to augment the Ojas and fine-tune the mind. We will see it further. In the first phase, it is a home-based program which may last up to 3 months. Diet is very important. Of course, we use a modified version of GFCF diet. Refined sugars and such things are also restricted. And there will be basic Ayurvedic medicines for facilitating the sort of Agni correction. Then in the second phase, it's a hospital-based program. You will have to stay in the hospital for maybe 2-3 weeks. The diet and medicine will be continued even through this phase. And there will be classical Ayurvedic therapies. I will show some of them. These are the list of Ayurvedic therapies which we perform generally: oil massages, dhara, some head wraps with herbal paste, medicated enemas, then special rice-based massages and other things. Then nasal medications will be there. There will be inhalations of some aerations. Then there will be fumigations within the room where they stay. These are some photographs. Abhyangam, the massage. This is another medicated rice massage. We call it Navaratepa in Malayalam. This is a photograph of Dhara, like that. And, and in the phase 3, this is again a home-based program where special Ayurvedic medicines are used. We generally use gold preparations very liberally in this stage. And this follow-up phase, the second and third phases will be done repeatedly as and when it needs. The diet and the basic medicines will be continued all throughout. Observations: significant change in the gut status in the phase 1, behavior improves, the child calms down significantly and the attention becomes better, more aware about the surroundings and more connected. The recurrent infections and other comorbidities come under control. They are not cured, but they come under control, become manageable. In the second phase, the sleep pattern improves significantly, the muscle tone and motor coordination improves, hyperactivity comes down, attention span increases, self-stimulations come down, eye contact increases, and receptivity to commands increases, and there will be better socialization. In the third phase, there will be remarkable improvements in the behavioral issues in total, expressive language improves, and academic performance also improves as evident from the school reports. This is the characteristics. Supra shows promising results. For the last 16 years, that is the only thing what I can say. But there are some constraints. The diet is the biggest challenge. We have to put the child on the diet, so it's a big challenge and stressful factor for the parents, especially in urban living. With proper adaptations, this protocol can be practiced anywhere else. Now I am giving you the Indian picture. We adopt a whole system concept of body, mind, health, and diseases. This is the advantages. It's safe, it's effective, it's economical after all, and the results are sustainable, and all sorts of other trainings, special education, occupational therapy, speech therapy can be combined with Supra for added advantage. This is a very small pilot study because everybody is asking for evidence, and we did it only for the first phase with a very limited sample, 20 Indian kids, both boys and girls within the age of 4 to 10. Now I am more convinced that the younger the kids, easier and better the results are. Now we generally discourage the parents of kids above 10 because I think they are to be switched over to some other program. Our program works well with kids of below 10 years. Younger the kids, better the results. Indian children, this is again expert diagnosis of autism, willingness to follow the prescribed diet and medicine, suffering from other chronic illness excluded, developmental anomalies like MR or Down syndrome, CP are excluded, any other regular medication is also excluded. These were the 9 areas which we were focusing: hyperactivity, poor eye contact, communication problems, socialization problems, echolalia, attention deficit, obsessions, sleep disorders, and digestive disorders. Scoring was based on a 0 to 10 scale. This was the intervention and assessment based on 9 features, and the one medicine was used only in the first phase, which we coded as pill 1. This display is gone, I think. It's not working. Okay, come back. And dose and duration: 1 pill 2 times a day, dissolved in warm water, orally for 3 months continuously. 9 features code after 90 days, evaluation before and after, and Wilcoxon's signed rank test was used, statistic analysis. These are the results. What I have shown in that first sector showed statistically significant improvements, whereas the last 3 is obsession, sleep disorder, and digestive problems. Clinically they improved very well, but statistically that changes were not significant. So hyperactivity, poor eye contact, communication, and socialization, echolalia, attention deficit, these were the areas which improved significantly. There were laudable improvement in the other 3, but they were excluded. I am coming back to that old slide. Give me a lever and place to stand, I shall lift the earth, Archimedes told. But he couldn't because there was nobody to give you a big lever and also a fulcrum. But I say that Supra can work on autism, provided, again, like Archimedes asked, give early diagnosed kids, committed parents, supportive tools. And from the last 16 years of experience, I do feel that we can manage ASD in the Indian context. Again, I am repeating, and this is for childhood autism. Adult autism we are not dealing. Again, we are coming to, okay, children of 10 years or less, they respond better. So this is all about my Supra study, and I would request all centers everywhere in the world, any autism school, anybody may please give a trial of autism, which is, Ayurveda, which is safe and effective in the experiences of all these maybe 1,000 odd kids. And we would like to generate more evidence on this. I hope we are working in tandem in together with the CADRRE, the committed team, and we hope that we will be able to come up with new data when we conduct the second International Autism Conference by that time. So, a big thank you to Team CADRRE. Thank you all.